Hello and welcome to my world and yet another making a tier list video. I do enjoy making these. And this week's subject, I pulled up a Saturday morning cartoons tier list to make, which apparently this would feature stuff that was on Kids WB versus Fox for Kids TV, PBS, and it looks like a lot of this is 90s, mostly. Definitely looking like 90s into early 2000s from what I'm seeing on this. So let's come over here. So this is what we got Jackie Chan's Adventures, Power Rangers. What's that? Lightspeed, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Power Rangers in Space, Tiny Toon Adventures, which was like 92. Wow, Big Bad Beetleborgs. That was like 93, 94. Beetlejuice, Berenstein Bears, Pinky and the Brain, Pokemon, Casper. So there's a number of things here, and some stuff I don't obviously do not recognize on site here. Some things might be listed here twice, near as I can tell. Um. So anyway, our tier list standard S A B C D F. Just to kind of keep it evenish there. Then we have the never seen category, and we will go in order here. You might see me right click, open image, a new tab, just to see what the heck I'm looking at. Some stuff is going to be a lot more easier to tell than others. And we'll open up with Bob the Builder, and I've never watched that. However, Animaniacs I did watch, and that's an S tier show. It was a Steven Spielberg production, and you can definitely tell it was Animaniacs was definitely a throwback show in terms of really capturing what made the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes and Merry Melody shorts so awesome in a then modern and contemporary setting. A lot of the songs still holds up. Now, I did not watch the reboot of Animaniacs. It was a Hulu exclusive, but I have seen some clips of that, and it's amazing how much of it they took the piss out of the earlier incarnation, in regards particularly to Rob Paulson's more who was the voice of Yakko doing the Nations of the World song at the drop of a hat almost everywhere and anywhere he goes. Arthur never really. I've seen like a parts of episodes here and there, but I've never really sat down and watched it. Batman Beyond, A tier. I really feel it got undersold a bit. Um, it being on the kids WB side of things on Saturday mornings kind of made it hard to keep track of, because when it premiered, you also had the competition and stuff that was airing also on Fox Kids at the time, and which also was incorporating a lot of 4 Kids stuff, which was also on both networks. So it was kind of like Batman Beyond was kind of in between there. Visually, it's an awesome show in terms of actually having a Batman story not being about Bruce Wayne. Although those who've seen a particular episode of what Justice League Unlimited knows it really is all about Bruce Wayne, because Terry ends up being Bruce's clone to some degree. But its theme song is freaking awesome as well. So it's like it gets up there. Barney and Friends. I am of that age that vividly remembers when Barney premiered, and I think I was like second or third grade, and so I appreciate it for what it was. I'll give it a C tier. It was harmless for what it was. I mean, I've seen the what was it? The I remember actually renting like it was like a Barney in concert VHS tape, and it was like the songs were good. It was like it was harmless. It was a perfect show for PBS in terms of aiming at a younger audience. Batman the Animated Series, S tier, no even question. So obviously we lost the late great Kevin Conroy, but you figure in like all the voice talent on that. Mark Hamill as the Joker, the for example, and the introduction of Harley Quinn. The basic modern day interpretation of Mr. Freeze comes from Batman the Animated Series, and they made some really deep cuts in terms of giving various characters and members of the Batman's Rogue Gallery times the shine. Uh, Killer Croc, for example, was a great kind of like one of the lower tier members of Batman's Rogue Gallery. Had some memorable episodes. It was definitely perceived as a threat. The episode, probably my favorite episode, is the one I got Batman in my basement, where the kids basically are using Batman's gadgets to fend off the Penguin. I mean, that episode still stands out to me. In fact, and I believe that's the title of it too. So S tier for there. Beetlejuice. I'm biased. I'm going A tier with it. Even though I kind of associate it more with being late '80s, but it did bounce away because it aired on ABC Saturday mornings. And I know it ended up in like the Fox Kids lineup for in the early '90s too. So it's kind of like a weird place there. But in this list here, at this exact moment, I am putting it A tier. Visually, it is mind blowing at the time. They got away with actually the CGI on it, which I believe I mentioned before, is like it was one of the first cartoons I remember seeing that actually had like CGI associated with it. It was in the not throughout every episode, but there were just moments of CGI in terms of like I guess Netherworld TV spots and commercials, things that were important to the plot. Berenstein Bears. Just make sure I got that right. Yeah, or Bernstein Bears. I always say Berenstein, so it's like throw it here because I can't really judge it. Between the Lions, never even seen. Beetleborgs, as a show that was capitalizing on the Power Rangers craze. And also having that was it the ghost that kind of looked like Jay Leno ish. It it was what it was. I enjoyed it as a kid, and although I haven't seen it I haven't seen it in like since it went off the air because they ran out of episodes and stuff to adapt. There was because it was based on a Sentai series, if memory serves me right, and I'm not sure which one. So when they ran out of footage, the show just ended. There was no conclusion. Do you remember there was kind of like a big deal with them getting like the new suits and stuff? So Bill Nye the Science Guy, I am going A tier with it in terms. It was on too damn early, but if I ever woke up early enough, it was entertaining. It's like you make science cool or fun at the very least, and I can appreciate that. Although I prefer the show that was on, I believe it was on CBS about the same time in the early '90s, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a dude with the hair, lime green lab coat that had a dude dressed as a rat, and I can't remember the name of it at the time I'm recording it. Bobby's World, I'm going A tier. I'm going A tier with Bobby's World. The theme song is awesome. Bobby Generic with the imagination and everything and how he would see the world or interpret things. It still brings a smile to my face just thinking about it. And it was my introduction to Howie Mandel before he became more known for as a game show host and a talent show judge. I always thought of Howie Mandel as this being, the voice of Howie on, obviously the voice of Howie on Bobby's World, the voice of Bobby as well. So I was like, okay, we'll throw it there. What the hell is this? Oh, Bratz. Probably more on my niece's line. I never watched it. Cal, you never watched it. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That is going S tier for me. I love that show. It was airing at 5 p.m. Assuming not 5 p.m. No, it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock on my WHYY, which is my local PBS station. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock. It was literally the last thing airing for kids before like the new news or something started on Channel 12. And so it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in that time frame. Acapella, awesome. The Rogues Gallery is like my appreciation for geography, and I was really good when I was in school. I was always good at history, social studies, and stuff like that. So, where in the world does Carmen Sandiego really appeal to me? I don't really remember watching it on Saturday mornings. However, it's like I approach it. I associate it more with weekday afternoons. Um, Chaotic. I don't know. Clifford the Big Red Dog. My brother would probably be a little bit more familiar with it. I'm certainly not. What the hell is this? Coconut Fred, I don't know. The Cramp Trims, I don't know. Qubits, Robots for Everyone, I don't know. Curious George, I never really watched it, so this is getting Cyber Chase. I'm gonna have to think because I think I watched this. Okay, okay. I had to think about it. Was it Cyber Chase and did it have Gilbert Godfrey? And it did. And I did watch this because it was on airing on PBS. That's where I would have seen it. A little bit later towards the 90s, early 2000s, this is where I would have seen it. But it was fine show, educational. And again, I associate Gilbert Godfrey with it, but other than that, I'm just putting it C tier. It's right there. It existed for me. It was fine for what it was. Digimon, Digital Monsters. Again, I watched a few episodes. It's Digimon never really appealed to me. My younger brother, however, would probably put it a little bit higher based on what he would remember. Because so it was like Digimon really never caught my. It never really held my attention there. So Dragon Tales. I do remember seeing a few episodes here, and it was a PBS. It was airing on PBS. Fine for what it was. Nothing good or positive about it, but I do remember seeing a few episodes. Earthworm Jim. The theme song is awesome, but I didn't really care for the show. So going there with it. And I don't remember, was it airing on, did it air on Fox? That's something I'm actually questioning now. Because I'm not 100% sure. I know it was it was mid 90s. Eon Kid, I don't know. X-Men Evolution. B tier. It is the lesser of the predominant, in my opinion, the lesser of the two X-Men cartoons. The other one being X-Men 92. It was good, but I think it got a little bit. I think some of the designs were just not as inspired or eye catching it because it was closer to like the X-Men movies in terms of there was more of like a uniform look to a lot of the characters. But I do love the design for Rogue being more of like a goth look, and Nightcrawler or Kurt Wagner having to watch, flipping back and forth. And also, this was also where did they really dive into the Mystique Rogue Nightcrawler family or not in this one? Because I know they touched on that in X Men '92. I feel like they also did that in X-Men Evolution as well. But it was more of a storyline there in X-Men Evolution than in X-Men 92, where it's just like maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Freakazoid, S tier. If you go with the evolution of the Steven Spielberg cartoons, Tiny Toons was first, Animaniacs was second. Tiny Toons aimed at a younger audience, Animaniacs aimed at a more like young, uh, 12, 13-year-olds, teenagers, and Freakazoid was aimed at like young adults and older. It was like, and Freakazoid never really got its due in terms of all of how off the wall it was, because it really wasn't a kid show. And as I got older, and it's like I keep thinking back to it, there are certain things about it. The theme song stands out. Just the fact that they got so crazy. I think some of the villains were like the Lobe, and they had like Ricardo Montalban in the pilot, and uh, and I think it was almost like a send up of what Ricardo Montalban did in The Naked Gun to some degree. If again, my memory is real fuzzy on that. And the Huntsman theme, hunt, 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 it's the Huntsman. Into battle is his cry. If there is an urgent emergency, just sound a horn of urgency. Something to that effect there. So again, my frazzled brain. So there we go. Sometimes I'm Funky Cops. I never even heard of it. Is this G.I. Joe Sigma 6? It is, and it was fucking awful. They've tried to reinventing G.I. Joe so many times, and look, you had the original run of the series that led into the animated movie. Then you had like the second series that came afterwards, and which was good. And then you get into like all the G.I. Joe reboots and reimaginings that started happening from the 90s up to now. It's like none of them work because they try to put an edge to it. It's like what G.I. Joe is. He's a real American hero. It's like they are here. They're fighting against terrorists. It is not that hard a concept. You don't. It's good guys versus bad guys. And they've always tried to do too much with it. And they like cut the cast down of characters to focus on like on a core group, where a big part of the appeal of GI Joe was the wide variety of cast of characters. Like you could go episodes without seeing everyone. Like Flint was not in every episode. Shipwreck was not in every episode. Scarlet, uh, Lady J, Hulk, General Hulk, they were not in every single episode. Duke was not in every single episode. That the fact that it was treated GI Joe worked. The original GI Joe worked because of the cast ensemble. The Sigma 6 and everything else after it is like they got it so wrong. They're focused on this a little group there. But anyway, Goosebumps B tier. It's like when you figure that it was literally adapting the books into 30-minute episodes, not even 30 minutes. It's like what 90s because it was airing on Fox. I said the episodes were like 22 to 24 minutes long. So you basically condensing the books down, adapting them into TV uh for TV. Like, okay, you have to take that into account there, and it did a pretty damn good job too. It's like, say what you want about R.L. Stein, but when you really think of it, he came up with some really warped and demented stuff. Jackie Chan Adventures. Again, this is more of a show that my brother would have watched, but I remember I watched quite a bit of it myself, and I'll give it a B tier. To a large degree, I kind of wish Jackie Chan himself was voicing his own character in it. I understand why they didn't, but the show itself has its nice. It has a nice little charm. It has story arcs that had endings and characters that, like when you thought certain villains were done with, they would come back maybe for a one off. But they had the ongoing story arcs, and things actually got resolved. It was serialized to a large degree. So if you missed a few episodes, your chances are you could have missed some major plot points. Johnny Test. I'm giving it a B tier here because I actually thought there was some very clever moments of it, and also a lot of the fan community around it's done some really creative things as it relates to fan fiction and fan art as it relates to Johnny Test. Um, so I'm giving a B tier. No real episodes really stand out to me, but I did. I was like, well, I would enjoy it if I threw it on. It was like I could sit and watch it. It's no problem. That's what they call it, the joy of painting. Bob Ross, out of respect for Bob, S tier. Like as a kid, I really couldn't really appreciate it because I wasn't a painting. I would draw, but I wasn't really big into painting. But looking back now, it was like what he was doing is like the calming nature, painting and everything. Um, we have to get the fact that so many people probably pursued painting or some other artistic endeavors because of Bob Ross. So it's like you gotta give the respect there. It's like the man did good. Kirby, right back at you. I had to make sure I got the title right. I've seen some episodes. It was average. It's like I liked it better than Digimon, but that's all I can really say there. Crypto the Super Dog. What the? I didn't even know that was a show. Legion of Superheroes. What the? Oh, it clearly would have been Kids WB, but I don't even remember it. Little Shop of Horrors cartoon. I'm giving it C tier. I do remember it. It's early '90s, and definitely when you think of stuff that you talk about Fox Kids, this just reaching for straws. It had some good music. I remember that, but some of the I remember the art style being kind of really weird, and it came across as being rather low budget. So it's and I think the Seymour is the kid in this, and the Audrey plant is a bit more hip hoppy vibe. So again, it's that early '90s thing type of deal. Uh, the Magic School Bus, A tier. PBS show, Miss Frizzle and the gang. I'm going to put it there at A tier. It's again, it was a great show in terms of what it was doing in terms of education. Um, and it's like it still stands out to a very large degree in terms of that bus. In terms of it would shrink down. They would go underwater. They all everything and every episode was an adventure because of the gimmick there. Oh, what the hell is this? Miami Miguel? I never even heard of it. Mega Man? I want to make sure I get the title right. Anti Warriors. Like, no, there was another Mega Man cartoon, but it's not on this list. So it goes there with it. Mew Mew Power? Unless they got a rename there. Men in Black, B tier. Um, had some great artwork with it. The opening theme song is awesome. It was more of a hype closer to the comics from what I understand. And I've only seen a few comics of Men in Black. So, but it did take some tone from the Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones movie to some degree. But it was a fine show airing on the Kids WB. It was like that's can't really say more than that. It was a fine show. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. That's going A tier. Legendary show, Fred Rogers. Um, we could use a Mr. Rogers in the world right now. We really could. But you think about it, everything on the show, the calming voice is like the land of make believe. Uh, Mr. McFeely, the little side trips that they'll go to, like on location things to have thing explain how certain things are done, and it for all intents and purposes, I believe it's one of the first shows that was really intended to be breaking the fourth wall, like outside of a news program where they were addressing, where Mr. Rogers is they're speaking to you, the viewer. Um, so it was like, yeah, gotta put it up there. What's this? Monster Allergy? Don't know. Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha. Awesome. I enjoyed Mucha Lucha. Not even as. Granted, most people know I was a big wrestling fan, but Mucha Lucha was just awesome in terms of applying all these little tropes of Lucha Libre in a ridiculous, over the top uh, setting there. Like everybody's a luchador, like the parents, the cops, the teachers, the students. It awesome shows like, and the characters like Ricochet, Bueno Girl, and the Flea. Uh, like honor, family, donuts, or something else like honor, tradition, donuts, or something to that degree. I was like a catchphrase or something of it. And the theme song is a fucking banger too. I believe the band who recorded it would play it at at gigs too. I think I saw footage of it, like it was being performed live and in concert. It's like because it was a damn good song. Muppet Babies, Muppet Babies, I associate more with the '80s, but you know what? We're going S tier with it. You know, in comparison to a lot of these shows, it's gotta go S tier with Muppet Babies. It was like for so many like great moments, the use of pop culture, and my favorite episode is the Bug Busters one where they are going to is it scooters computer to get a bug, like it malfunctions and to get a bug out of it, but it's that is my favorite episode of it. But they use like Star Wars. Matter of fact, I believe they actually did a full episode of Star Wars, like a full send up of it that they actually made, like using their imaginations and stuff. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2000. This is the 2003 series, and I'm going B tier with it because and oddly enough, my brother doesn't remember watching it much, even though I remember him watching it. He remembers the '87 Turtles because that was airing, on up until like '94, '95, '96 on CBS. Turtles '03 maybe was a good show. Granted, a lot more closer and faithful to the comics, and they resulted in some very bad video games, as I've recently on a recent stream. I took a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus, which is based on for the second or third season of this particular TMT series, and I certainly didn't care for it. But visually, it looks it holds up very, very well. Osmosis Jones. That show sucked. The movie was tolerable. If I was the movie, I probably put in terms of like I'll probably say like it's a C tier, but the animated show is just awful. And I would just leave it at that. Pinky and the Brain, A tier, and you can also throw in Pinky Elmira in the Brain. It's like granted, that's just a continuation. Um, they really stretched in giving the Pinky in the Brain is like as much to do as possible. And granted, it was a very very good show. I mean, but the when it's the only part of a show is like there's only so much you can stretch out to. It's like in Animaniacs, there would be like an entire episode based around Wacko Yakko and Dot, but it was very few and far between in that regard. Pinky and the Brain being stretched out for to fill out a half hour block, it kind of watered it down. So I'm still an excellent show. It's just I wouldn't put it in the S tier. Pokemon the Johto Journeys. All right, so that's basically season. Ooh, I didn't watch the Johto Journeys. At least I don't remember watching them. My brother probably will be able to judge it. But the original Pokemon series, I'm going C tier with it because Ash was so much of an idiot, and like really thinking back, like Ash kind of drove me away from the show. And I like all the other supporting casts: Misty, Brock, Jesse, James, Meowth, and like all the different leaders up into the very story arcs going into every major gym battle. Ash was not exactly a good protagonist or a good lead, in my opinion. So I go C tier with that. And again, this is double check. This is Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, and I'm going B tier with it. In light because not every Power Rangers series is on this list. And yeah, there are matter of fact I got some things on here, duplicates of stuff here. Um Power Rangers Speed episode, self-contained in it. You get the entire story, beginning to end. They are literally an EMT squad. I never seen the Sentai that it's based on, and I have to really pay attention to what's airing when on Toku Shoutsu, that the the Twitch channel that Shout TV has that shows a lot of the Sentai stuff. Um, but I can't really say anything negative about Lightspeed Rescue. It's just like it was a fine show. It's actually one of the better and more serious Power Ranger shows too. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and considering that covers 3 seasons or three, close to 4 full seasons. Because I forget, it goes Power Rangers is the Zyuranger. Then season 2 introduces Lord Zed. Season 3 sees Rita return. I think also ends up seeing the. Okay, now I'm trying to remember when the hell does Rita come. I think Rita comes back maybe towards the middle back end of season 2, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm trying to remember when the hell the Ninja Zords were introduced. Because I think they were the ninjas when because the Power Rangers movie came out 95 ish, and they switched the Zords. Okay, so season 3 is 90. Oh, I feel Power Rangers 90, 92, 93 for my season 1, 93, 94 for season 2, 94, 95. Because they because the Aqua Rangers. I'm again trying to figure all that out because they used there was something. It's just trying to remember a lot of it, but boy, just trying to remember this exactly when these seasons and story arcs took place. Um, Power Rangers obviously turning. Anyway, getting back on track here. Power Rangers obviously turning 30 years old, and I'm very tempted to re get Netflix to resubscribe to Netflix come April. Things hopefully are shaking out in a positive way for me to watch the 30th anniversary special. Um, but you had a lot of great moments. The show certainly evolved rather quickly from how it initially started to where you get into like the Lord Zed year when, and not to mention the loss of the actors who played Jason, Zach, and Trini over a contract dispute over how low they were being paid, considering how much money the show was making and their likenesses being on a number of pieces of merchandise, like from coloring books to actual action figures and comic books and things of that sort. So it kind of falls in that weirdness there, but again, the show evolved. It didn't really stay pat. As a matter of fact, in Power Rangers itself, like the Mighty Morphin era, arguably stretches all the way to the end of Power Rangers in Space and bleeds a bit over into Power Rangers Lost Galaxy because Bulk being involved in that and it's Alpha 6 being involved in that particular show. But it kind of is what it is there. Again, I'll go A tier with it. Reading Rainbow, Lamar Burton is like awesome show. Definitely went out his way to try and get people involved, kids to read and recommending various books. I don't think I ever read any of the books that was shown on Reading Rainbow, but all things considered, it's an S tier show, top tier. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. What the hell is this? Roly Poly Oly I've never seen is like a. What's new Scooby Doo? Didn't really watch that one. I think it was airing on Kids WB, but I don't know for sure. Sesame Street, obviously S tier. No questions asked, no debate about it. Sagwa? Never even heard of it. Shaggy and Scooby Doo, never watched it. Again, some of these things I can't tell what they are. Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. I was aware of it, but I never watched it. Xiaolin Showdown. I believe this was Kids WB, and I seen a few episodes, and I didn't like it all that much at all. It's like it didn't leave a good impression on me. Not enough to even justify putting it in the C tier. It's like Kirby and Dragon's Tales. I kind of could put up here. It's like okay, like could enjoy them to a bit. I don't remember. I can't say I enjoyed anything about Shaolin Showdown. This is the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. Just a double check here. Yes, it is. I'm going. I'm going B tier with it. Again, it's them along with Granny traveling around the world solving mysteries to an extent, with Sylvester still trying to devour Tweety. Totally fine. It was a creative use of Sylvester and Tweety in terms of trying to do something with with the Looney Tune characters, giving them their own show, giving them the mystery gimmick. Power Rangers in Space, arguably the greatest Power Rangers series, beginning to end, and you really have to take into account that it starts with the second half of Power Rangers Turbo, when they have the sudden switch for basically getting rid of the characters of Tommy, Kat, Tanya, and Adam. Uh, I guess suddenly replaced with new actors, and it basically saved Power Rangers in Turbo. And from the introduction of TJ, Cassie, Ashley, it was like TJ, Cassie. What did I say? Ashley and Carlos, along with Justin. Introduction of those characters carrying all the way through to the end of Power Rangers in Space. It's like, yeah, awesome show. It was like we had a lot of the dark moments, the serious moments, the final. To this day, Countdown to Destruction, the formula for that is used in to close out every single Power Rangers season. They tried that with the what was it, Super Mega Force, and did just a bastardized version of Countdown to Destruction in that. Oh, they got a few Spider-Man shows here, but I need to Jeff. Spectacular Spider-Man. This one I did not watch. Oh, what the heck is this? Spider Riders did not watch. Is this Spider-Man on Fox? I'm gonna. It is, and ooh, I could. I could almost justify it going into the S tier. Almost, but not quite, because the voice acting, the guy who did Peter Parker, could get really weird at times. But in terms of adapting numerous comic book story arcs, everything from Venom to Black Cat's origin story to Morbius. Uh, they adapted they granted it was like in 3 episodes, the Secret Wars, and everything being built to like that big like Spider-Man metaverse thing where it's the Spider-Man from the continuity that we've seen interacting with different versions of himself from different timelines, different dimensions, different universes, and it capping off with like him meeting Stan Lee. Like that still stands out in my mind. But the voice acting could be really all over the damn place with that show. The Mary Jane arc too was really weird. It's like he was basically going to search for Mary Jane, and we don't know if he ever finds her or not. I have to clarify which Casper series this is here. I'm assuming the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper. Here's the thing: there's another Casper series that but had a different art style, and I don't see it here. Because there were 2 Casper series. One was just called Casper straight out. Just to be safe here, I'm going to go there with that. Static Shock, B tier. You're basically okay. It was a show that basically did what everybody wants from Warner Brothers in terms of actually creating interesting superhero characters. People always talk about, oh, the DC pantheon of heroes is too quote unquote white. So a lot of people say, oh, well, just race swap a number of characters and that'll fix it. It's like, not when you have that many uh, legacy characters. You need to create new characters or find ways of being able or come up with creative and respectful ways of passing the torch down from one character to another. It's like in Static Shock was an original character to the best of my knowledge. Uh, that really caught on. It was a very good show, and in terms of its of the character's place, when you saw him teaming up with the Justice League, um, it felt natural. So Static Shock goes right there as a B. I give it a B. I didn't. I personally I couldn't put it any higher than that because I didn't watch enough of it. But what? Because I watched like maybe I will catch episodes here and there, but I was not a dedicated viewer enough to like sit down and watch it. Uh, it wasn't can't miss for me. I could miss episodes. Super Wife, never even heard of. Is this? I want to make sure this is Superman the animated series. B tier. Not as good as Batman Beyond, not as good as Batman the Animated Series, but it certainly brought Superman back to television. Prior to this, the previous iteration of Superman TV was the one played by Dean Cain on Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, airing on ABC. Before that, there was a Superman cartoon, as in some ways a spin-off of sorts, off of the seemingly endless Super Friends series of cartoons. So it's like and that was in the like mid late 80s. So Superman being brought back, it's it's like I can safely say I didn't like it as much as Batman the Animated Series. So Tasmania, come do but the A tier. It's like great song. You had a great variety of characters. The song basically introduced everybody, so the Taz and his family didn't have to be in every single uh segment of the show. So, because granted, Taz was the main focus, but it wasn't unusual for him not to be the focus. And always the dad character always stands out to me as like a riff on Bob Hope, blah blah blah, yakety schmackety. It's like a good old glass of OJ. So we put that there. Teen Titans was Cartoon Network. It did not air on Kids WB. That was where a lot of this is also good throwing at me here because some of these shows would have been on Cartoon Network for, as far as I know, Legion of Superheroes is like, I don't remember that being on Kids WB, so this is making sense here. But Teen Titans, the original version of Teen Titans, a lot of folks hold near and dear to the hearts. That was an A tier show. It certainly established a lot of tropes as it relates to Beast Boy, Cyborg, Raven, and Starfire. Robin was kind of like your typical lead character. Again, the fandom community has done a lot with Teen Titans, and gotta respect it, and gotta put it there with it. Um, let's see. Teletubbies, I've never even watched. The Mummy series, Mummy's Alive, I remember, but not the series based on the show. Tick, great theme song, memorable characters, is like American Made. Still the name of it being an actual superhero dressed as a maid. Uh, the Terrible Midnight Bomber that bombs at midnight. Was a dude who was like what chair face? Dude's face was an actual chair. The Tick stupidity, Arthur's like reluctance of being a sidekick. Again, B tier show was airing on Fox Kids. There you go. Thomas the Tank Engine, and I associated more with another show being Shining Time Station. So that's so for me, it's kind of like a package there. And Shining Time Station was my introduction to Thomas the Tank Engine. But if I just have to judge the Thomas and Tank Engine stories and stuff, it's C tier. If Shining Time Station as a whole, I would put up B tier, but just the Thomas and Tank Engine it goes C tier for me. Tiny Toon Adventures, that's easily an A tier show. There's stuff about that show that still holds up to this day. Baby Plucky is like, you don't push the button, I push the button. It's like toilet paper go down the hole, and all the various characters. Uh, Buster and Babs Bunny, no relation. Let's hope not. This is a kids show. Matter of fact, oh no, that was an Animaniacs riff on it. They had like Richard Lewis stand in as Noah. So, but the summer vacation movie was real cool. With like Plucky riding with Hammond and his family, and then getting to an amusement park, and you get there, and then it's all the way back when it's like nothing happens. There was also a couple episodes based on totally around music videos, which were I think it was one was like "Do You Love Me?" was one of them. One of them was like Buster basically yelling in Babs's ear. Uh what a There was also like a Pluggy Duck was really the outbreak show of character because he ended up getting no, he got a pilot if memory serves me right to try and give him his own show. I remember something involving the fleas and on the character of Furball. It was like one flea, and there was a really sad song on it. It's like anytime I would see that episode on it, I would always tear up as a kid. So it's like being all alone. Yeah, it's tough. Uh, Toonsylvania doesn't ring a bell there. Shaman King. I read the manga, but I've never watched the show. This is Ultimate Muscle. For me, F tier. Watched a few episodes when it premiered, and I thought it was fucking awful, and I never looked back. I was familiar with the little figures and stuff. As a matter of fact, I had a bunch of them because you get like these little gotcha machines where the little pin gumball machines and the ones that will have like little toys and eggs and stuff. So I would have had a few of those. Beautiful Joe didn't even know it had a show. Viva Pinata. I just thought this was a video game. So there you go. Where on earth, Carmen Sandiego, Carmen Sandiego, where on earth can she be? It's an S tier show. Awesome show in terms of like, okay, where in the world in Carmen Sandiego basically did all the freaking world building. Where on earth is Carmen Sandiego basically taking all that world building and making it into an adventure show? Trying to keep some of the some loose elements tied in is like making sure like as if the viewer is the player because it all takes place within the context of a computer game, quote unquote. But great show visually. I think visually it still holds up from what I remember. It's like I love the design for Carmen, as you could see here. It's like I wish I could remember the two junior detectives' names because they were like brother and sister, and the chief being a disembodied head on like a screen that would pop up out of nowhere here and there was also stood out a bit. Um, and I Just a great show. Is again that's another show that was airing on Fox. Uh, Wildcats don't know. SWAT cats I would be able to judge. So Winks don't know. Wishbone. Matter of fact, I know I have the Joan of Arc book. Again, taking major literature, adapting it into like a half-hour show on PBS, and then you have the gimmick of having to use a dog as a character. Yeah, the books, the the books were also like like short versions for kids as well, but like I'm giving it a B tier. It's like it's creative as a way to get things done. What the heck is this? World Girl, never heard of it. X-Men 92. The Superior X-Men show. Like A tier. The theme song alone is legendary. But a lot of the characterization in terms of how a rogue being a Southern belle, who even with that design it was like this oozed appeal, as it were. Gambit being like this sly dude, this dubious dude that you could see him like being a bit of a sleazeball because he actually was. Wolverine's gruff nature and all the story, his like various story arcs, because he got a lot of them. Storm wasn't really giving us much. Beast's entire plot in the first season, basically being in prison, just waiting for his day in court. Uh, it's like an awesome show, and again, they would have, and it wouldn't surprise many to hear the phrase "previously on X-Men," and 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 literally being shown clips that says like, "Hey, remember this? This maybe happened like 2 seasons ago, but it's important now." It's like, really? It's like they pulled some deep cuts on that. It's like this inspired man in terms of just constant callbacks and story building and everything. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! I did not really watch that one. I didn't watch that one. This one I didn't watch. Again, my brother could probably judge this one a lot more fairly than I could, but the basic Yu-Gi-Oh series, the first one was Yugi, Taya, Joey, Tristan, and the like. It was a C tier show. I can enjoy it and sit down and follow it along and not understanding the fucking rules that they were putting in play, but it is what it is there. Uh, Zub Zubofoam, don't know. This is Zoom. I think I vaguely remember this being on PBS, but I'm not 100% sure. 101 Dalmatians, the series. D tier. Like, again, give credit to Disney trying to make something is like, and I often think of this as like a answer to what, and I could be wrong on the timing of it, but it just seemed like Warner Brothers was doing stuff with their legacy characters, and so Disney tried to do something with 101 Dalmatians, and I just didn't really care for it all that much. Uh, all right, so this we'll just quickly throw these around here. It's like, why? Just find the ones that you don't want. Well, it's like a completionist here. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Oh, C tier. I really wanted to like it a lot more than I did. I thought it had so much potential, but this felt like it undercut it a bit. There was just something missing for me to really connect with it as a viewer. Throw that up there. What the hell is this? Oh, chaotic again. Uh, la 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 la. The House of Mouse. Okay, here we go. House of Mouse. Brian Setzer and his orchestra did the theme song. And again, doing something with the legacy characters. Um, in terms of aging characters up, everyone hanging out together. It was treated as a nightclub, in which I kind of feel in many ways was a throwback to like the Ink and Paint Club that was seen in Roger Rabbit. Then you have, I think the standout episode was like you had the House of Villains, and then you had like one where it's the reuniting of the three Calabreos. Recess, like C tier for me. Where did I put it? Where did Recess go? Okay, I could have sworn we had it there. Where did it go? Oh. Oh, it's transparent. It doesn't show there. Like, way to go. I didn't put this thing together. I just find the list. Doug. Oh, boy. Doug is really a tale of two shows. You had the show that aired on Nickelodeon, which I would put C tier. Then you had the one that aired on ABC after Disney bought the rights to it. And that really drags it down because they changed a lot of things about the show. Like Roger got like a major switch over the personality. It was like, nah. Swim Dream. Where we put that one there. Did this one pop up before? Oh yeah, it did. The young kid. It's like, and I needed to see the title here. Fillmore. Never watched it. Like I have to look at the title stuff. Yeah, Funky Cops. Don't even know. And I get to drop that there. Where did we drop Goosebumps the first time? Jackie Chan Adventures. Go there. Johnny Test. Where did I put it before? Oh, there it is. Jungle Cubs didn't watch. Kirby right back at you. Again, we'll see tier. Some of these shows didn't even air on Saturday. They aired on Saturday mornings, just not like Kids WB versus Fox Kids. Like there's a huge difference there. But, sometimes you just want to throw things out there. Men in Black, we put there. Like, just to, pad things out here. Watch. Mucha Lucha. Mucha Lucha. Where did I put that at? Oh, there it goes. B tier. Ninja Turtles 03 again. Like this. Pepperan. I could understand the appeal of it. It just didn't really grab me as a viewer. By the time when it premiered, I was like, didn't really grab my attention. Pinky and the Brain. I could actually use this as justification for Pinky on my render brain, but like Reading Rainbow. Again, this going through Sabrina the Animated Series. I thought it was okay. That's more all I could say about it. I think the live action show was actually better, but Schoolhouse Rock, legendary show that goes up there. I was like, everybody knows what was it what was it the I'm Just a Bill song and very other things there. But I remember Schoolhouse Rock not really having its own show, but more like show things that was airing in between, and more so on ABC. Let me just throw that there. Sylvester and Treaty Mysteries. And where did I put it the first time? There it goes. Power Rangers in Space. Spectacular Spider-Man, no. Static Shock. Let's make sure I did put that in the B tier again, right? I did. Superman was also B tier. I threw Tasmania in the A tier, didn't I? Yes, I did. Teacher's Pet and C. What the heck is this? I can't tell the title. Timo Supremo. Heard of it? This. There. Teen Titans again. A tier. Teletubbies didn't watch. Mommy didn't watch. The Tick. And we'll go B tier with that. The Weekenders. Didn't watch. Thomas the Tank Engine. Again, I have to judge some shows. Again, Thomas the Tank Engine, again, I associate with the Shining Time Station is like being a part of another larger show. That's the Toonsylvania. Shaman King, Ultimate Muscle. And just double down on that. Beautiful Joe. Actually, I probably could have ended this recording minutes ago, but going through, seeing what was there in case there was something buried. And no. Okay, so yeah, so probably could have ended this like before we hit the hour mark, but again, that was like there was some shows still buried in those duplicate areas. But yeah, so there we go. S tier Animaniacs, Batman the Animated Series, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, Freakazoid, The Joy of Painting, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Muppet Babies, Reading Rainbow, Sesame Street, Power Rangers in Space, Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego. It's just like, heck, put all those shows on a Saturday morning. That covers everything in some regards. Okay. But the A tier stuff too, and certainly nostalgia's played a part, and I also have to judge things and probably a little bit more unfairly, and I certainly give some stuff to have like long lasting legacies more respect than but it's my list. Kind of wish there's like whoever put this thing together didn't have like so many duplicates just to make sure everything got included. And but to go through those duplicates to find stuff that in case there was something that stood out, so I had to go through one by one. But anyway, that would do it for this particular tier list video. And it was recorded February 14th, 2023. If you have any thoughts on this particular tier list or my justifications for either praising certain shows or just going like no, a show with this I consider it to be absolutely horrible. I think my biggest friend was probably on GI Joe Sigma 6 and how everyone has gotten it wrong with GI Joe for so many freaking years. It's not even funny. Oh no, there is actually one show I actually wish I was kind of on this list, and it came to mind. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, because I think because I was actually saw the Sentai yesterday morning. The time I was recording this, It's called Gridman, and it's like I recognized like the action sequence inside the computer. It's like I recognized that show. I didn't realize that was obviously it was a Sentai. Looking back on it, adapted for an American audience, but it's like it certainly clicked in my head, but to a large degree. Anyway, so on that note, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, have a great one. Leave your thoughts, comments on this tier list. If you made it to the very end, Phil Kimchi, I know you always make it to the very end of these. It's like we'll surprise you with your name drop here yet again. Of course, also everybody can join me nightly over on Twitch for various shenanigans and things of that sort. So until next time, folks, have a good one. Bye.